Hi and welcome to the Monday Live. And I'm back from Ireland. And we had a good time there. I have to say, we did have a good time. I'm trying to show you my poppy there, which I was wearing for Remembrance Weekend and in Ireland at the week before at times. And it's quite hard to get a balance because poppy has different meanings, I think, to maybe the Irish. But I was surprised that my local Sainsbury's was raising money for the charities by selling poppies with rugby balls attached. I'm not exactly sure why, but I thought if I attached an Irish rugby ball to a poppy, that might sit reasonably well in Ireland. So that was what I did. And hopefully it worked. So we'll be thinking about that tomorrow, of course, and over the weekend. So anyway, to Bridge, Ireland, fantastic. We had a great time. I'm not saying it was summer weather, but it wasn't summer. But we had some nice glimpses of sunshine, and fortunately, one of our little breaks coincided with that. So, and some good bridge played. And just generally a good time had in Kinsale for those of you who were asking in Cork. So it's good. What's next? Well, I've got a week in the country, which is good. And the next week after will be in the country, but a bit further north. I'm going up to Alnwick in the middle of the week, which will disturb certain things, but that's for next week and not this week. So we're Monday, Wednesday, Friday as usual. And we are talking unblocking for November. Unblocking. Last year we were unblocking as declarer, this time as defenders. And I'll have another excerpt from the big seminar. The big seminar was is on the site. Obviously it's for the members, etc. And it gives you a real, I hope, insight into the topic. I'd love to have your stories about blocking and unblocking. Yes, last week we were focused on those suits where you've got 9 cards between you as a defender, and it's so important to take the first 5 tricks. And we've all been there, hopefully not too often, but we've all been in that situation where we've ended up blocking the suit where the player with the 4 cards has won the 4th round and not been able to take the 5th one. And it's very subtle sometimes, the differences. Today we're going to be looking at leading high cards and how that affects it. So when one player leads a high card, should the other one unblock or not? What have we got in terms of events and things like that? Well, we've been looking at Parsford House down in the south. I am actually in December going to the old barn again, so we're revisiting there. And then of course we've got the festive period with Christmas, Twixmas. So that's the middle bit, Twixmas. We're sacrificing on that. The New Year event where we have a great celebration. And of course, the best way of starting your January of 2026 by rebooting your defence. So that's doing a lot of seminars on defence and getting yourself really up for it for the next year. Obviously, along with doubling as well. On the Fridays, what are we doing? We are just about to embark on a new topic. And it's going to go very well with double annuary, because we are going to be making the most of defending doubled contracts. Why? Well, I've done a seminar on trying to defend against doubled contracts, but I'd like to take it a bit further because it is a really important topic. What do I mean by that? Well, when you double your opponents for penalties, usually you're expecting to get them down. But quite often when you make that decision, because I'm going to be honest, a lot of you don't double enough, as I keep repeating every January of every year. But we need to make sure we get the most out of it. And so quite often doubled -2, nice score, 300, but we'd love it to be 500 or 800. because that's where you get the big scores. One, you beat the opponent's game, hopefully, but also you turn it into a big score. And it's surprising how often there are these opportunities. I saw a number of them in Ireland, funnily enough, where people just drifted by and just went on to game, you know, instead of taking 4 spades doubled off, maybe 4 or 5, they ended up in 5 hearts making, and it was a sort of flattish board. Nobody else was, you know, but you get these opportunities, and if you can make the most of them, you can get some lovely scores. What else is there? It's a normal week, as I said. We got the diary. So those of you who are interested, that's been out now a couple of months now. So we got it on time this year, to the Mr. Bridge Bridge Players Diary. Yes, as I think it's been produced certainly by Mr. Bridge for over 20 years, and then before that it's been going a long time, the Bridge Players Diary. I think in its original form it was about that big. I think it was a tiny little one, but I think gradually it got lost in bags, so that the longer one was created. We haven't got a 5-level decision today, but we will have a bidding quiz at the end. So the 5-level, because the Fridays have been various, as it were. We had a revision Friday, I think, was last Friday, getting ourselves ready for defence. But the main part will be the seminars, and then we maybe will look at our cruises and holidays after that. So let's go to that. Unblocking as defenders. Let's have a look. So we said the topics were going to be the basics of a returning partner's suit, which is really important with regard to understanding how you unblock when you've got these 5-4 combinations. But just understanding how many cards partner has in a suit when he leads back to you is really important. We get taught how to do the opening lead, 4th highest, from our longest suit, but we don't necessarily get taught how to lead back top of doubletons and your original 4th highest, as it were. And that, of course, leads to avoiding blockages. We're going to look at unblocking on partner's lead today. And then we're going to talk about other things. Or I do in the seminar. I think for the rest of this week, we'll try and look at some examples and some other ideas. But you get subtle blockages, and of course the ideas of end plays and avoiding end plays is where I finish the seminar. But today we are talking about unblocking on partner's lead. And to understand what that means, we have to understand what our partner's lead means. So if partner leads an honour against no trumps, what does it mean? And if partner leads an honour against a suit contract, what does it mean? Well, in no trumps, it should be a strong holding. It shows a very strong holding, at least 3 high cards. What we call 2.5 in a row. So king from king, queen, jack, or king, queen, 10. King from king, queen, jack, or king, queen, 10. And against suit contracts, slightly different. You just need 2 in a row. And the reason for that, of course, is in suit contracts, you don't generally focus on the 3rd round of the suit, because someone will be roughing that. Okay, so in no trumps, the 1st, 2nd and 3rd round of the suit are really important. Hopefully the 4th and 5th, you may be the only one who's got cards left for it. But you use your high cards on the first 3 rounds because nobody's roughing. In suit contracts, you use your high cards on the first 2 rounds because after that, very often, the suit is being roughed. So let's focus on no trumps first. And because the leader should have 3 high cards, it's often going to be important for you simply to unblock a high card. Now this is particularly true when partners led this what's called broken sequence. So partner leads from king, queen, 10. He wants to lead the king because he's hoping that the jack's going to be swallowed up. The problem is when his king wins the first trick, he's got to work out where all of the other cards are. And that's not always going to be easy. Okay. So what he wants from you is for you to unblock a high card. Okay. The only thing is that you do have to bear in mind that if dummy is super short or super long, that is going to change things. Okay. So to help the smooth running of the suit, we want the partner to unblock. So we're sitting as the partner. If partner leads the king, we'll often overtake with the ace and then lead the suit back. But dummy's important. What do I mean by that? Dummy's got 4 to the 10. Well, if partner leads the king, well, then we know that 10 is going to have some standing. Whereas if it's a 10 to 3 to the 10, very different matter. Okay, so dummy is very important if it's very short or very long. But why if it's very short? Well, if it's very short, then of course declarer might be long in the suit. Okay, so you've got to make that assessment as a player. Okay, generally with a doubleton though, you play your highest card. Unless it's obviously going to give a lead away, you want to unblock your card. Okay, particularly obviously with an ace. Okay, if you've got just low cards, playing count does help your partner. So again, you're looking at playing high-low if you've got a doubleton. So remember, in no trumps, partner's shown great strength, so he's not asking for an attitude signal. If you really like his lead, then you're going to play your high card usually anyway to get it out of the way. So you're not in no trumps because it's such a strong lead. Partner doesn't need your help. He wants you to tell how many cards he's got. So if you have 8 doubleton, 8-4 or something like that, I'd want you to play the 8 first. You're not saying you like the suit. You're trying to give your partner the number of cards you've got in the suit, and that can be really valuable. Okay. So here, of course, is a classic holding in no trumps. The auction's got 1N, 3N. Okay, and as we all know, that doesn't promise that North and South have a stopper in spades. It's just them bidding their hands out, and every so often you do lose the first 5 tricks. Okay, however, it does require careful defense here. Now, from King, Queen, 10, you really should be leading the king, because of course if I move the ace into the opponent's hands, if you lead a small one, they would make both the jack and the ace. Jack would win on the first round, as well ace will win later. So you're leading the king to make sure you can try and swallow the jack. Okay, so here you lead the king, and of course East overtakes with the ace and then leads it straight back. So you sort of almost give the jack a bit of power by wasting the ace and king on the first trick. But obviously East is then able to lead the 5 straight back, and the suit runs smoothly. If of course you don't play the ace on the first round, you block the suit. Okay, how about on this layout? Well, the king is led. Now the 3 in dummy here means it's very safe. As long as you trust your partner's lead, he should have king, queen and 10. Remember, we can see the jack, so he's got king, queen, so we can afford to play the jack on the first trick, and that makes your partner's life so much easier. So when you play the jack here, if declarer chooses to duck, your partner obviously with queen 10 can continue with the suit. If you play low and declarer plays low, then West is thinking who has the jack, and because you haven't played it, he will place declarer with ace jack and will switch, or most likely switch suits. Okay, so when you can see there's nothing worrying in dummy, as in there's 3 relatively small ones, you can afford to play the jack, which then makes your partner's life so much more easy. He can play the queen, knowing that the queen and 10 are of equal value. Remember, the jack is gone, so he plays the queen and knocks out the ace, and his 10 is a winner to claim the rest of the suit. As I say, if you haven't played the jack here, then West, your partner, should place declarer with the ace and jack, and he should be thinking, well, I'm not sure I'm going to play another spade here, because if I do, I'll give declarer 2 tricks. Okay. However, partner's not always going to have 5, and here dummy is going to give you a clue, isn't it? The king is led, and you can see here that if you play the jack on the first trick here, then the 9 of spades is going to have value in dummy, because partner's going to have a smaller one. well, I mean, I suppose partner might have king, queen, 10 bear, but that doesn't help. Okay, partner's fourth spade will be beaten by dummy. Okay, so what we do here is we give count. We show our partner how many cards we've got in the suit. We're not going to unblock the jack because it's going to give a trick away. Are you happy with that? So we play the lowest spade in our hand. Now, when partner wins the trick, he's thinking, okay, well, I've got 4. There's a 4 in dummy, and my partner's played his lowest spade. So either it's a singleton, or I'm going to place him with 3 cards in the suit, or of course jack doubleton, and if he had jack doubleton. So what's going to happen is West is going to lead the 3 of spades. So clearly we wouldn't want to play the jack from jack doubleton, so we would play the lowest. So if we had jack 2, we'd play the lowest. But of course when partner leads the 3, he's happy anyway, because the jack is used to force the ace. Or in a sense, you've blocked the suit, but if declare lets you make 2 tricks, you're happy anyway. So all you're trying to do is avoid the dummy's 9 becoming good. So here your partner hopefully works it out. East either has 3 cards, in which case it's right to play a small one because the ace will be bare. Okay, or he's got jack doubleton, which again, a small one works. You're not wasting your high cards. Does that make sense? So the 3 of spades is the next play that West should make here. We play the jack on that, which loses to the ace, but of course the queen 10 will then be a winner. So these are tricky little situations, aren't they? Okay, and you might say, well, why didn't partner lead the 4th highest from his king, queen, 10? Well, it always works when you've got the jack, but leading 4th highest from 3 high cards like king, queen, 10 will too often give a trick away when declarer has that jack along with his ace. Okay, quite tricky. Now this one is even trickier. Again, we lead the king, but at this point, with dummy being so short, there is not going to be too much of a surprise that declarer has length. So imagine it goes 1 no trump, 3 no trumps. You haven't had stamen or anything. You don't know what South has in the majors. So there's no reason to think that South won't have 4. It is possible, of course, that partner has 6 spades in the suit, but he could equally well have 5, which would leave declarer with 4. And we don't want to waste our jack here, because if you do, you may find that you establish the 9 of spades eventually for declarer. So here it's a choice you might do. I mean, unblocking the jack is not completely disastrous. Your partner might, after all, have king, queen, 10, 9, and you make it easy for him. But what you're trying to do is get a balance. If you throw the jack here, on this occasion, clearly you are giving value to declarer's 9, 8, 6, because he will win the first trick with the ace, feeling he's got a double stopper. Can you see that? So if you play the jack at trick 1 here, if declarer plays the ace, his 9, 8, 6 is going to be a stopper, unless East gets the lead twice to lead through them, if that makes sense. Okay, so because declarer might be long, you're probably going to choose the 2. And now it's tough, because when partner leads the suit, I think it's really difficult for partner to judge here. Given that you're placing South, as West, you'd place South with 4 spades. I'd be happy with that, because partner played his lowest. Okay, and he's giving count. So I think placing South with 4 spades, I think it's really difficult. And maybe if he had ace, jack, 9, 8 to 4, he would just win the first trick, and then move on from there, hoping to make another trick. It's a possibility. You might say that to yourself. But if you lead a small one and it goes to declarer's 8, you're not going to be happy. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? But maybe leading a low one and then partner gets the lead later. I just think it's really difficult to judge, but there's not much you can do as East. You don't want to waste the jack because you're too worried that it's going to give declarer power in his suit. Okay. Obviously what we'd like partner to do is play a small spade. Okay, but you can't always have precision. So how about in suits? Well, in suits, we're only promising 2 high cards, but so we're less likely to unblock. But of course, sometimes we'll unblock because we're hoping to get a ruff. Okay, and that's a really important thing. Okay, so if you've got a doubleton, you tend to unblock, particularly the ace. So partner leads the king, you can overtake with the ace, lead one back, and then partner has the option of playing a third round. Okay. Dummy, really important here though, okay, because if dummy's short as well, or if dummy's long and we expect declarator to be short, we've got to bear in mind that if we waste a high card, we might not make a ruff anyway because we're going to be over ruffed, or dummy will ruff in front of us. And also, do we want to waste an honor? Okay, you only want to waste an honor if you're going to get something back. And what's important here is, do you want to ruff? That is fundamental. Do you want to ruff? So you're generally going to play your highest card from a doubleton because it's going to help partner picture the suit. Okay, so partner leads ace king, for example. Do you want to throw your queen underneath that? Okay, and the question is, do you want to ruff? If you've got king queen doubleton in trumps, or ace king doubleton in trumps, you don't want to ruff. So you play low. And remember, when you play low in a suit contract, a low means no. Okay, so generally I'm playing standard attitude in a suit contract because partner's only showing 2 high cards. He wants an attitude signal. So when I play a low card, that might persuade partner not to lead the suit, i.e. partner leads the ace, I play low. I'm hopefully stopping him leading it. Later on I get the lead, I can play the queen. And then we haven't wasted one of our ace king queen, whereas obviously if it goes ace king, my queen is wasted. Okay, so let's have a look at that holding. This is the classic holding here. Okay, so your partner's got the ace king. Remember, the ace promises the king. I know some of you are very lax with that and will lead aces randomly, but it should be very much a rarity that you lead an ace without a king. Here, the ace promises the king, and so East is sitting with the queen doubleton. It makes sense here to drop the queen underneath the ace. Okay, then the king comes and you can get a ruff. The only exception to that would be if you really did not want a ruff. And there are occasions, you know, you were dealt ace queen of trumps and dummy has the king, or you're dealt ace king of trumps, or king doubleton trump, and you can see the ace. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some holdings you still want to ruff. I mean, if you've got king doubleton and you think declarer's going to finesse it anyway, of course ruffing is good. Okay, but something like queen jack small in trumps, where your ruff then gives you a bare queen jack. Okay, so here, unless you've got a good reason, you would throw the queen underneath. Okay, but remember, ask yourself, do you want a ruff? With small trumps, go for the ruff. Play the queen, partner then plays the king and gives you a ruff. Lovely. With a more dubious holding in trumps, you might play small, and of course now sometimes partner will change tack, and that could be worthwhile, because remember, if we play ace king of spades here, the jack of spades is then a winner, so partner does need to lead a spade to give us a ruff at that point, because otherwise we've given the jack a trick. I mean, let's put it into context. I've got a couple of hands here, one from the seminar and one which I've added in, and relatively straightforward in a way, but let's have a look. One spade, partner bids 2 diamonds, 2 spades, we pass, we've got nothing to say here, and south jumps to 4 spades. Your partner's on lead, nobody's vulnerable, but he's made a 2-level overcall, and we had a lot of discussions about these 2-level overcalls in the seminar that came up in Ireland. And I do a lot of work on my set hands, but I had a lot of people making 2-level vulnerable overcalls on 5-card suits. There you go, which is not the best bridge, but there we go. So here your partner's led the ace, no surprise there, that's his suit, and you've got a simple decision to make. You know, what are you going to signal to your partner? And you're allowed to look at dummy, and dummy's got a doubleton. And, you know, if you play, you've got a choice. If you play the queen, Andy's got a good point here. Sometimes when we play the queen underneath an ace, we're promising the jack. That is really only if we've given support or there is a fair chance that we've got support. So, for example, if partner can work out that we're definitely long, either because we've supported or because it's obvious. Now, that may seem a bit odd, but there may be enough of an auction, even if we haven't supported, that he can guess that we're long. But otherwise, in a situation like this, where we've had the auction, where we haven't supported, our queen would either be a singleton or a doubleton play here. Okay, but there are times where, particularly when we've supported, so here if the auction had gone 1 spade, 2 diamonds, 2 spades, 3 diamonds, if we had queen jack small in diamonds, we would play the queen here to promise the jack, as Andy suggested there. But in an auction like this where we haven't supported, the queen would either be a singleton or a doubleton here. And partner needs to know, because the normal lead play he's going to make is ace king of diamonds here and then give us a ruff. Okay, now we can tell if we want him to do that, but clearly we need to be able to over ruff dummy, and we can't. So if we get partner to play the ace king of diamonds, he's going to then lead a 3rd round of diamonds and dummy's going to ruff with the 8 of spades. And hopefully that's the end of that. But the point is that I mean, partner might be sitting with, I suppose, ace to 3 spades. And he might actually be able to draw all dummy's trumps if he needs to. So let's say he doesn't play the king of diamonds, instead he plays a spade, and then declarer tries to get a diamond ruff, but we can win the queen and then play another spade to partner's ace and a 3rd round of spades. Suddenly, declarer doesn't get a diamond ruff. So it's important that we tell our partner that we don't really want a ruff. Now, okay, so we're going to play the 3 of diamonds here, and partner can then decide what to do. Because we know that if we play the queen and partner then follows with the king of diamonds and a 3rd round, partner's going to be disappointed, isn't he? Because he will think that we've got the 10 or the jack of spades here. Okay, so we have decided that we can't beat dummy's trumps, so partner, could you switch? Now, it doesn't mean partner necessarily will, but when he plays the king of diamonds, he'll know that we're not in a position. So he might choose to play the king of diamonds next. He might have ace, king, jack to 6, and then think, okay, now I'll switch, because he knows that we don't want a 3rd round. Okay, he also might place us with a singleton diamond, of course. Okay, instead here he switches to trump. So let's look at how that hand is. Okay, this is a non-vulnerable 2-level overcall, so that 2 diamonds is okay. It's the vulnerable ones you've got to be careful of. So when 1 spade, 2 diamonds, 2 spades, 4 spades looks normal. And it looks relatively easy for declarer to ruff 2 spades if you make it easy for him. Okay, sorry, to ruff 2 diamonds, I should say. But of course, if we switch to spades, he can't do that. He'll only get 1 diamond ruff, and 1 diamond ruff's not enough. Okay, unless, of course, we play ace king of diamonds. So if we waste the queen of diamonds here, it is just possible. I mean, if we play the queen of diamonds, really, underneath the ace, partner should play the king. It's not good, because we've not got anything to over ruff the dummy, but it surely is the right play. Okay. So here, West switches to trumps, and that then allows, it stops declarer getting 2 ruffs. Notice if we just play ace king of diamonds, or even if you play ace of diamonds under leaded diamond, declarer will then have the chance to ruff 2 diamonds in dummy, and that allows him to make the contract. Instead, he loses 3 diamonds in the ace of hearts. So that's nice here. So if we just change the hand slightly, again, same auction. All right, love all. I mean, if you're fun enough, if you're a gamer, you know, sometimes you'll actually support a diamond overcall with Queen Doubleton. Okay, and this is the point about needing 6. But here it's going. We're in 4 spades again, and once again you get the ace of diamonds lead. And here, I think it's not unreasonable to ask partner to continue diamonds here. Does that make sense? I think it's reasonable to get him to play the ace king of diamonds and a 3rd round of diamonds. You don't need much from partner. If partner's got 10 Doubleton in spades, okay, if partner's got the 10 Doubleton in spades, or even the 10 singleton, to be honest, will make it more difficult for the opponents. It means Declarer has to try and rough high with the king of spades on the 3rd round of diamonds, and he's then got to pick up our spades. So he may choose to finesse our jack, okay, and still get things right here, but we're putting him under maximum pressure. So for me here, it looks right to drop the queen of diamonds to say, partner, yes, continue here, because I think it's the best thing for us to do. Bear in mind that even if you allow the jack of diamonds to be the master in the south hand here, if it's only 3 of them, you're going to be at a rough anyway next. Okay, and partner does indeed play another diamond. Okay, so let's look at the full hand, and Declarer undoubtedly can get this one right. So if on the 3rd round of diamonds, Declarer could play the king of spades and then choose to finesse in spades. But clearly that wouldn't work so well if our partner had the singleton jack of spades, or Doubleton jack of spades for that matter. So it's possible that Declarer might choose to rough with the king and then play a spade to the ace and a spade to the queen, hoping that the trumps break 2-2. You're giving yourself the best chance here. As you can see, Declarer only needs the 1 diamond rough here. So if you choose not to play the 2nd round of diamonds, Declarer is going to be at a rougher diamond eventually, or pick up the hearts, but more likely rough a diamond in dummy. It's interesting, there's bluff and double bluff here. I suppose what you could do is play the 3 of diamonds to pretend you can't over rough, and then maybe eventually Declarer tries to rough and thinks, well, if they didn't ask for a rough, maybe they haven't got the jack of spades. So I can see there's ways of psyching up your opponents, but I think your best bet here is to ask for partner to continue diamonds, and I think for the most part Declarer may well end up losing a trump trick. Not only that, there's also the genuine chance that your partner has 10 Doubleton in trumps, in which case once Declarer's used the king of spades to rough with, he will have a definite trump loser. Okay, we will have made a trump promotion, as it were. Okay, so as I say, Declarer can get it right, but there's a good chance that Declarer will go wrong, and therefore it is worth pursuing. So remember, when you're thinking of looking for a rough, make sure you want one. Again, the queen of spades is a tricky one here. If you had queen to 3 in trumps, I think you want to ask for a rough, because I think the auction is suggesting that West has longer diamonds, and therefore Declarer might choose, if Declarer had ace jack 10 to 6, may choose to take the finesse in trumps here, because he's expecting long diamonds in the West hand. So I think with queen to 3, pursuing the rough is right, and here then Declarer really would struggle, because he'd then have to finesse you twice for the queen to bring the trump suit in. Okay, so that was our little sojourn into unblocking, whether it's right or not when partners let a high card against as the opening lead against a suit contract, or of course in no trumps. Holidays abroad, well, we've just started that. We've got lots of cruises, of course, and in fact Lynn, I know, is going off in March to see the Northern Lights, but there are plenty more and throughout the whole summer. And of course, we've got our new regime of holidays. We've got Tenerife, we've got Croatia, Portugal, which was a great success this year, I have to say, and we're going a little bit earlier next year, so that in September, and Fran and Graham are hosting that. They were out as guests with me on this occasion, so they know their way around, and they certainly enjoyed it as well. And of course, we have Greece, the new one, and that's in October, and we're looking to try a 5-star event. So that is a little bit more pricey, of course, but it is a 5-star event in Crete. So if you're interested in that, have a look at that and come and join us on that. So a nice variety, I hope, of events there. And there's Mallorca, so there's a good variety for you, including the cruises as well, where we're going around Britain, we're going to the Med, I think there's one to the Amalfi Coast, which is proving popular, so lots to choose about. Just a reminder for those of you singles, because I had an interesting situation in Ireland where quite a few singles ended up being in twins. They were waiting, hopefully, for single rooms, but they do go quite early. We do our best. Well, I know how many single people we got to get on these events, so we do our best to make arrangements with hotels to provide us with lots of single rooms, but essentially there is a limit that they will give us, so they do tend to go quickly. Those of you who know our holidays well will know that we'll often have a singles wait list, and we do try to open it later, but we don't always get that opportunity. Okay, so that's us nearly finished, isn't it? I think we're on to the bidding quiz, so let's have a look. All right, a different kind of theme now. Your partner's opened a week, no trump. Landy from South. So South has bid 2 clubs alerted as showing both majors. So 1 no trump from your partner, 2 clubs from your right-hand opponent alerted, and it's your bid. So these are tricky ones, but actually quite common things that come up, and it's important to understand what options you have in this auction. Okay, so good luck with that. The answer's on the website, of course, whether you're a member or not, and see how you get on with that one. Just a reminder, because a number of people have asked me about this one, the changes to the Declare a Play quiz. So those of you who are members, of course, the Declare a Play quiz is changing. You're going to end up having the same 280 hands you've had over the last 280 weeks. But this time you're going to have the opportunity to play them. So you can press on the button and you'll have an automated aspect of Q+, which allows you then to play the hand through. So rather than just making your Declare a Play plan, you can test it and see if you're right. So hopefully I think that will entertain you, but do give your feedback on that if necessary, and we do love feedback on whatever it is, whether it's an event and various things. I was glad to see that quite a few of you enjoyed the pairs while I was away. I know you prefer, don't get me wrong, I love doing it live, but the pairs because if I play, I mean, I love to play these things live as well, but pairs, when I've got a little bit more time on the computer playing it, I find it myself able to talk it through a bit better, whereas playing live, I always find there's so much to talk about in pairs because every single card counts. That's what I mean. So having a bit more time helps. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm here for the week. So Wednesday teams, Friday the new topic, defending doubled contracts, and then another week will come because we've got the Monday live. The next week after, slightly different, but we will come to that as we come to it. So thanks for your company. See you again soon.